Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 20th episode. Yeah, it is the 20th episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I am your host, Katie M. Kane. With me is my co host, Will Terps. And tonight's
Yo.
guest, ladies and gentlemen, we have the man, Drew Sweeney from the Casher Corporation. So, he is actually on the call with us right now, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear us, Sweeney? Can you hear us okay? I think he might have his mic on mute or something. I can see you okay, Sweeney.
Yeah, it does look like his mic's on mute.
Can you hear us, Sweeney? We cannot hear you yet, sir. Yeah, his mic is on mute. You gotta unmute your mic, dude. And his video just went out. All right,
Looks like he
ladies
just
and
unmuted. No, he muted it again.
yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties for the time being. Will and I can fill this beat in for a second. So I know Sweeney from college days. I went to school with him at the University of Idaho. He came up with this idea for the product called the Casher. I actually worked for him for like the year. It was like 2012. Did some production and operation stuff for him. So it was pretty awesome. There he is right there. Can you hear us now, Sweeney? We can see you, but we cannot hear you, sir.
Seems like he might be on mute still.
Yeah. Is he turned up on your side too there, Jess? There's no volume control. He's up. All good. Will said he's got some echo. I can see you, Sweeney. I just can't hear your voice. All right. So let's get back to me and Will. When you chime in, Sweeney, just go ahead and keep saying hello or mic check or whatever. And when we hear you, we'll stop talking, man. Okay, Will. So how's it been going at the shop this week, man? Have you gotten any new nugs? Like, are you seeing some nicer weed on the shelf than what you guys had in the stash before you moved?
Yeah, definitely. We haven't been picking up like too much just yet. We just grabbed some Angry Wizard from Heroes of the Farm, which is super nice. But we've
Angry
slowly been
Wizard.
getting like yeah, it's Mad Max cross with Blissful Wizard.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty fire.
And Mad Max was one of those dog walker B sides or something.
I don't think so. I'm honestly not sure. I think Mad Max is Guinness times Raz. I could be
Oh,
wrong
okay.
though.
Okay.
But we got that, which is really nice, and then we've slowly been getting back more of our edible inventory, which has been awesome. We got a new Echo drop, which was cool. Um, Actually, one of my more favorite like bucket drops. We got some double tangy banana nitro live terps on the rocks or whatever, and one of my favorite strains to come out of Echo recently. Sorry that I don't think they'll be growing it anymore, but
What was it
uh
called?
it's double tangy banana. I think it's a Crockett strain, but
Ah, okay.
it just smells and tastes like a fucking Jamba Juice smoothie. It's crazy.
Damn.
But yeah, just like I don't know, the the last drop we got from Echo was really great. We got some carts back, and then we also got like a couple um, uh, like butters and live resins that were on different ends of the flavor spectrum. Like we got some Southern Belle live butter, which was like gassy and fuely, and then some White Tahoe cookies butter from 10-4.
Damn.
and that was definitely pretty pungent and like I said, more on the fuel end. Then we got the double tangy banana, which is more on the sweet, like fruity end. So
Tight.
yeah, just I'm mainly stoked to slowly get our full inventory back. So um, we can offer the people that are looking for specific things, products.
Yeah, I saw Jackson post a like a new version of the logo on his Facebook. I was like, ooh, that looks pretty cool. It had like the coastal tribal designs and shit.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's super cool. Yeah, that new logo is awesome. And funny thing, actually, I was talking to him yesterday. I was asking him, I was like, "Yo, is that the guy, your cousin that designed that logo? Is he like really? Is he on John's side of the family? He related to John?" He's like, "No, no, other side." I'm like, "Oh, word." Yeah, but
Word.
pretty
Yeah,
pretty pretty sick new design on what was already a cool logo in my opinion.
yeah, man. Yeah, super dope. Is he? When do you think he's gonna do the grand reopening and such?
It's scheduled for September 14th, so it should be then.
Okay,
That's what we're gearing up for.
2 weeks then.
Yep, 2 weeks pretty
We can
much.
try to book that guy for the show, man.
Right?
Yeah, and we can get him the week before, or the week after, or something.
Yep.
Talk about the change, man. What about 10-4? You guys get any 10-4 on the show, Will?
We haven't picked up any new stuff. We still have some lemon meringue, but yeah, yeah, like I said, the only new stuff that we picked up at the new location, flower wise, has been Angry Wizard. And oh, I stand corrected. We did pick up some new Green Source stuff.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Any
but
of
we
it
haven't
bomb?
we haven't shelved that yet. Yeah, it's really nice.
Like,
Very
is it
nice.
like different other genetics than what they bred?
I think it's mainly stuff they bred, but I think one of the strains was like glazed cherries, which is like Girl Scout and a cherry cross. Smelled pretty good, so
Damn.
stoked on that one. But yeah, I think most of them are their own strains.
All right. Well, fucking A, Will, that's tight. We're still trying to get Sweeney to jump on the Wi-Fi or something. Okay, it looks like he left the
Yeah,
call. He should come
it
back.
seems.
His connection just seems poor. And
Yeah,
Yo,
there.
yo, can you hear
can
us,
you hear?
Sweeney?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, dude. Are you stationary now, or are you still driving?
No, I'm stationary, dude. I'm good. I don't know
Okay.
if this video feed will work.
Okay, audio only is okay, dude. We can slap your logo up on there instead of your face if that's cool.
Okay,
Is
that's
that all
fine.
right
Yeah,
with you?
yeah. My bad.
Oh no, it's all good, bro. Like these things happen when you broadcast live, bro, especially from 4 different places. So, we can only do our best, man. Don't feel bad
Yeah.
at all.
Well, fucking hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, dude. You're the man, Sweeney. You are the man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, dude, like I'm really proud of you, dude. Like I am. So I'm glad that you took the time to come on our show. It's like
Absolutely.
somewhat ancillary business to the cannabis industry, but still right there in the middle of shit. So I think it's very relevant to what we're doing with our content, man. So thank you.
Nice. Yeah, thank you guys again for having me. I'm stoked to be on board.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in with my cookie cutter questions here, Sweeney. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company? Like you're an Idaho boy like me, right?
Yeah, so I grew up in Idaho, in Moscow, Idaho, and they're not too kind on the weed laws over there. They'll probably be the
Yeah.
last state to legalize. It's kind of crazy. So when I came up with this idea, I moved to Portland, Oregon, and I've been here for 10 years now. So I moved here pretty much just to start cash her up, and I love Portland now, man. I hardly go back to Idaho anymore.
Same. Same. Same, dude. Not even for Christmas. It was like, that's a long drive, like
Yeah.
6 hours. I gotta tend to
Yeah,
my plants. I gotta take care of my plants. That would always be my
right.
excuse. Like I can't
And
leave
my,
for
you know, like my good friend has you know, he got a felony in Idaho just for he had a couple ounces of weed on him, and it's a fucking felony. It's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I'm another friend too, Sweeney. Fuck, man.
Yeah,
That's why I went to Oregon too. As soon as I got off probation, I was like, "Fuck this place, I'm out of here." I don't
it's
get in
crazy
trouble.
how different this landscape is now from when we both moved out there compared to now with legalization and it maturing and the markets. It's a totally different landscape now. It's maturing, but there's definitely growing pains.
No doubt. So, when did you come up with this idea, man? Like, was it while you were in college? Like, did it smack you in the face? You were just watching a movie or playing some hoop or something, and shit, that's a good idea. How did that happen,
Yeah,
Sweeney? What was the
well,
process like?
so I was smoking a ton of pot in college. We'll start there, and then I'm always looking for a fucking poker. You know, I had like all these little pipe tools and pokers, but they were never there when I needed it. So you know, I just was like, man, it would be sweet if we had something right on the lighter. And you know, I started looking at, you know, like getting a patent on that idea, and it was crazy, man. It was the same concept, like a lighter tool with like a lighter tool built into a lighter. That same concept has been around since like the early 1900s. There's over 100 patents on the
Wow.
same concept.
Wow.
Yeah, and it kind of crushed my hopes and dreams right there, man. When I started, you know, doing the patent searches, you know, looking at prior art, you know, on the USPTO.gov website, you can look at all the patents. Google Patents is a huge database now too. But I saw all these inventions and patents and stuff, and I was like, damn. And I looked on my nightstand, and I had a little. It was literally a fucking paper clip wrapped around my lighter with one end kind of pointing down, and I would just slide it up and down my lighter. And that's like when the light bulb went off. I was like,
Word.
damn, it doesn't have to be a full lighter cover. It can be like just a half of one that just slides down to a point. Whereas every other patent is built into the lighter. You know, it's like a Zippo lighter with 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 a pipe tool or a poker that swivels out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I've seen a lot of imitations too since then that are like plastic mold with a metal poker
yeah,
that folds out
yeah,
too.
exactly. It's a full lighter cover, and that was what I originally was looking to do. And then I looked, you know, after I saw these prior patents, I saw this paper clip wrapped around the lighter, and that's when the light bulb really went off. I'm like, dude, it could just be a little, you know, one piece of metal that slides down to a point. And at the time, it was just strictly for catching bulls, you know, hence the name the casher.
Yeah.
And so it was that was the one and only function of it. And that was in 2009, right? That was 10 years ago. And so over the past decade, you know, marketing and selling and building a company, it's like, man, you could use this to open boxes, and you can use it as a mini flathead screwdriver, and you can, you know, load vape pens with it, and you could shank somebody if you had to for self-defense. Like we currently sell to the U.S. military.
Tight.
We're approved on Camp Pendleton in Southern California, the Marine base down there. It's the biggest Marine base in the world.
Tight.
And we sell to like women that don't even smoke, that just for self-defense. You know, I'm sure you guys have heard like you know, they tell women that if you're walking in your car late at night in the dark, hold your car keys in your hand in case someone attacks you, and you can like at least try and stab them with your car key. But a casher is going to be way more effective than your dull ass car key. You know what I mean?
Hell
So
yeah,
it's
especially
a
if you
real
hit him in the neck,
application.
man. That's gonna
Yeah,
break the
or the
skin for
eye.
sure. Yeah.
If you hit him in the neck, hit him in the neck. And if that doesn't stop them, then fucking take out an eyeball. Like they shouldn't be mugging people, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
they
and
lose one of their
most
two eyeballs, they're probably not going to mug anyone else in their life. I guarantee it.
and they say that most most guys who do that type of crime or whatever will give up on it if someone fights back, or causes them
Yeah,
harm in the course of
exactly.
the thing
In fact,
happening.
I actually met, so, I've been telling people that I actually met a woman at Seattle Hemp Fest. It was a couple years ago now. She came up to our booth and she said, like, she had her casher in her hand when she got off work. She worked at a bar, so it was like late at night in a dark alley in Seattle. And this dude attacked her and she fucking stabbed him in the neck. He started to bleed. He saw blood and just ran away, and it saved the day.
Yeah.
It didn't like kill him or nothing or anything crazy, but that's what I told her. I'm like, look, if that didn't stop him, take out one of his eyes. Like this motherfucker shouldn't be mugging people.
Yeah,
Straight up.
no doubt. Yeah, man, definitely multiple uses, dude. What I is it would be dope if those Marines or like one of those women's groups created like some training videos. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
training with a lighter or whatever. Dude, that would be sick.
yeah.
And then, plug the casher in there too, post them on
It
YouTube.
would be, yeah, especially
Yeah.
on the military side. Like if you're a trained like Navy SEAL, let's say, you could fucking murder a whole group of people with one casher if that's all you had. Like if you,
Yeah.
let's say you're a prisoner of war and they take everything and all you have is a casher and you can
Pick that
escape
lock.
and like
You know
you
what
know
I
what I
mean?
mean? Like it's a real application for sure.
No doubt, man. Fucking A, Sweeney, that's cool, man. I'm glad there's
Yeah.
still stuff happening, dude. Like that's
Well,
dope.
yeah, it's just like, it started in the cannabis space 100%, and then over the years it's like, man, we could use it for this, use it for this, and so it's just kind of expanded our markets. And so now, we do a lot of private labeling for, like a promotional item. We could
Yeah.
even do a Concerned Dad podcast capture that you can, use out, or we've done them for magazines, we've done them for lawyers, like law firms that kind of target the cannabis industry. We've done them
Yeah.
for bands, we've done them for artists.
Yeah, I
And
got
so
I
it's
got some
it's
Katie Kane cashers on the website, bro.
we do. In
Yeah.
fact, we got some more at the shop still. I need to ship them to you because I don't know how many you got left, but we got. I came up on a bag that I think we forgot about.
Word. Hell yeah, man. Tight. Tight, tight. So how did you I'm gonna flip back to my cookie cutter questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Like how did you get the casher like mass produced, man? You didn't do it in this country, did you?
No, I tried to originally. I contacted several local manufacturers, like metal shops, and they were coming in at prices. My cost would have been between $4 or $5 in that range, which means
Damn.
they would have had to retail for $20.
Damn.
And so I went on. This was, again, it was back in 2007, 2008. And I went on like Alibaba.com. Actually, back then there was one called globalresources.com that I don't know if it's still really popping. Alibaba really took over. It was kind of like MySpace versus Facebook. Facebook blew up and MySpace dropped off. But I found this company on globalresources.com, and they made these metal lighter covers, and I contacted them and said, hey, can you make like a half of one? And I had it was a project, man. I had to send them, drawings, and I had to I originally cut it, a fucking prototype out of tin snips. It was like a metal lighter cover, a full lighter cover. And I chopped it up with tin snips, and it was all like rugged looking. I had to sand the edges down and get it to look how I wanted. And I sent that to China to this guy I found on that website. And after another probably 200-300 emails back and forth and like 3D drawings and all this shit, they finally were able to make some samples and send them to me. And
Dope.
then like that's kind of the beginning of, you know, how I was able to line up the mass production. But at that point, there was a lot of challenges still. It was like, okay, I had these, he only sent me 6 prototypes
Damn.
for $1,000. You know, a
Fuck,
lot of
dude,
it
that's
was a
expensive.
lot of it was the tooling, but you know, from there, I had to go try to get financing, because I just graduated from the University of Idaho in 2008, and then that summer is when I moved to Portland. So I didn't have any money. I didn't have shit except for a car, a cell phone, and like $30,000 worth of fucking student loan debt, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's right when the economy tanked in 2008.
Hell yeah.
So nobody was hiring. So the timing was actually kind of perfect in that regard for me to like, well, fuck it, I'll just start now instead of like trying to get a job and doing it later, it was a blessing in disguise at the time, because, you know, if I had waited, I may have never started. That's one of the biggest things. Once we get to some of your later questions, I'll elaborate on that some more. But it's just like getting that ball rolling and taking that first step. And then, you know, I went to a local bank, like a, you know, a corporate bank like Chase or something.
Yeah.
And I showed them my idea, and I had a business plan, and they fucking laughed at me. They straight up fucking laughed at me. They're like, "Oh, this is a cannabis product? Like, no way." You know. And so luckily in Portland, there's this company called Mercy Corps Northwest, and they specialize in financing for, you know, like low income and minority and women entrepreneurs. And I was able to get a loan through them just to uh, market the idea. I didn't have anything to sell. It was strictly to you know, take it around Portland and get some feedback. In fact, the first time I applied, they declined my shit 100%. They're like, it's not a no. We're gonna say it's a not yet. We want you to get pre-orders. And so what I had to do was take this. I had to take these samples all around the shops around Portland, and pretty much convince people to agree to give me a purchase order, even though I don't have any product to sell. And so I
Damn.
just explained to them the situation and said, look, I need you to agree to buy some of these in like 6 months when I have them ready, and like write up the purchase order now. And so I ended up getting like 15 or 20 purchase orders from like smoke shops and head shops. And I got one distributor, which was probably kind of the deal breaker, you know, one like decent sized distributor. And so I
Yeah.
took all those back to the bank, to Mercy Corps, and then they approved my loan just to launch and get my first production run. And then I had the money to pull the trigger on our first production run, which was crucial, man. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do it if it wasn't for that.
Damn. That's dope, Sweeney. For real. Like that's pounding the pavement, dude. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
exactly. Pounding the
yeah.
pavement is a lot of legwork, a lot of hard work, man, at the beginning. But you know, I guess the biggest trick is just taking that first step and starting, and then it's from there. It's like one step at a time, and you just you just keep checking off the list. All right, what I got to do next? Bam, and you just do one thing at a time, you know.
No doubt. No doubt. So my next question, I'm gonna put two of them together. How many units have you sold today? And then how do you sell this product mainly? Like what's your I know you do trade shows and stuff like that, but I want to hear you talk about it, bro.
Yeah, so mainly, I mean, we sell them on our website, of course. It's mycasher.com, casher with a K. Um, and we sell mostly, so we do all these trade shows. A lot of them are B2B trade shows. So we actually have retailers in all 50 states, Canada, Australia. We just landed one in Europe actually this last week. So we're pretty much global at this point. You know, we're still a small company, and really pretty much in a startup phase, even though it's been 10 years. Like the first 5 years, I was doing it on the side. I was working other jobs and doing cashier on nights and weekends. And, finally got to a point where I was like able to, make more money from that and tell my boss to fuck off, and I quit. And then I started doing cashier full time.
That
And
had to have been
that
a
was
good
like,
feeling too.
oh, dude, it was so nice. It was funny because like everyone at the place I worked at, it was this fabrication plant. It was a lot of manual labor type shit, and everyone was like trying to get the most hours they could. They were laying people off. They're like, people are trying to get overtime and shit. And then I come in and have my meeting with my manager, and I'm like, hey, can I get a bump down to like part time? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I want to do like maybe I'll come in from 7 to noon, and then I'll just be out after that. And he's like, okay, I guess. And I did that for like 6 months, and then that's when I got to the point where it was like, dude, I can make more money, in one phone call if I close a deal than a whole day's worth of work. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
hourly pay. So yeah, at that point it was a no-brainer. It just took 4 or 5 years to building up, and the other big factor was my patent went through. So from the time I filed my patent, it took 3-4 years before it was approved. And so like the whole time I was like, man, if I don't get this patent approved, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, like delve into it 100%. I want to have that protection. So
Yeah.
once it finally was approved, that's when I was like, okay, I like fuck this job. I'm gonna do my own shit.
Yeah, man. Entrepreneur life, man.
It's the leap, man. It's the leap of faith. It's like at some point you either gotta do it or not. It's like they call it jumping off a cliff and building a parachute on your way down type shit. Or jumping
Yeah.
in the deep end when you don't know how to swim. It's like
Yep.
at some point you have to take that leap, and the sooner the better. Like some of my only regrets are not doing what I did sooner. You know what I mean? Even though I was relatively young at the time, it was like, man, I should have done this sooner and done like, we'll put it this way: if I had to do it all over again, I could do it all 2 to 3 times as fast as I did.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads me to my next question is what I like to ask people this just because everybody always likes to talk about their wins, but I think the losses are relevant to shaping how things came to be. So my
Yeah,
question is, what is the biggest mistake you've made on the path to where you're at now? I know you talked
great.
about that a little bit, but like,
Yeah, no, that's a great question. One of them. So, like I said, starting sooner is one, but after we really got rolling and like I was doing it full time and had an office and stuff, which actually that's where you came out and helped me out. Kane was out there in Aloha
yeah,
and shit, and like doing all that sooner. But once we got past just the initial phases of getting the cashier out there, I would say my biggest mistake was um, not staying focused enough on one thing and staying really with a niche on cashier. I started selling glass. I started selling grinder cards and just other products that were not my shit. And it's like, so are you trying to be a distributor, or do you want to be a manufacturer and sell what you manufacture? And so
yeah,
I was getting pulled in so many different directions because I'm doing all these trade shows, meeting people, and they're like, man, check out this product, and like, damn, that's tight. And so I was trying to like pick up other products, and it was it seemed like a good idea at the time, but then when you really look back, it's like all of the money I spent on these other products, all of the energy I put into selling them, all of the, everything that went into it could have been all focused on just cashier. You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
I realized that. Luckily, at one point, I got an investor a couple years ago, and that was the first thing he wanted to do was cut all this other shit out and only focus on what we manufacture ourselves.
Yeah.
And once we did that, like that's when, like that's where we're gonna kill it. We're manufacturers. We're not a distributor. You know what I mean? We want to manufacture the products we sell and not really sell other people's shit.
Yeah. That makes sense, man. It's business, bro.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's like it applies to any business, any entrepreneurial venture, any business, any company. You have to have you have to have a specialty. You have to have a niche that you really focus on and are the best at. And then, once you get to a point where like that's clockwork, then you can kind of, take on some other projects and other products and stuff. But until you get there, that was definitely my biggest mistake was trying to expand into other areas and other products too quickly.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay, so good answer, Sweeney. Good answer. The flip side of that coin is what do you feel is the smartest move you've made on the path to where you're at right now?
Straight up, just starting, bro. That's the
Starting.
hardest thing. That ideas are a dime a dozen, but until you take that very first step, and it's literally the one fucking step. Just what do I have to do first, right? And then you just take it one step at a time. Um, that's like I'm glad. So, like I said, the timing wise, when I graduated in 2008 and the economy tanking and the housing market collapsing and nobody was hiring, so it almost like made my decision for me, right? But on the other side, like, so I used to read entrepreneur.com articles all the time. I had a subscription to Entrepreneur magazine, and I read all these success stories. It was like my favorite part of the magazine and the website. And
Yeah.
every one of them, I swear to God, dude, every one of them started the same way. It was like, I worked in the corporate world for 10 years, and then I got to a point where I'm like, I could do this shit better than my boss does, or like
Yeah.
I want to do my own thing. And my thought was like, well, why don't I just skip that whole 10 years of working for somebody else and start it now? And then in 10 years, I'll have 10 years of experience under my belt. Whether or not I'm in a good spot financially, it doesn't matter. I have that 10 years of experience, and knowledge is power, man. Like money
Yep.
comes and goes, money comes and goes, but knowledge stays, man. Like what you learn, like if you learn the ways of making money, you could lose all the money you have. You could be a millionaire and lose it all, and then you can make it back because you've already done it before and you know what to do. And so it was, straight up just starting. I would have started sooner if I had, looking back, like I would have started sooner, even though I'm glad I didn't go to work for somebody else and then wait 10 years, because at that point I may have never even started. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's all these, we have a few competitors now, and I may have like saw one of them and be like, oh fuck, it's too late now. They're already doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't one of your teachers in college too, like you showed the teacher your product and he kind of told you to do the same thing to job up and not pursue this
Yeah,
until later.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say too. He was essentially like my mentor. He was one of my favorite. It was like in my upper, my senior level business classes. So I had him for a lot of. He was my teacher for like 5 different classes over the last like year and a half.
Yeah.
And I told him my idea. He wasn't a cannabis guy. And again, the way I pitched it to him was strictly cannabis tool. Whereas if knowing now, I could have pitched it to him in a way different way. But at the
Yeah.
time, I just pitched it to him in a as a cannabis tool. But the main point was like, should I start my own shit now or should I go to work for somebody else? And that's what I asked him straight up. And he told me he's like he's like, look, if you work for somebody else, you can learn on their dime. You can make mistakes, and it's not all going to fall back on you. Which is not the worst advice, but for what I was trying to do, I said, fuck you, man. I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen the guy since, but I would love to run into him, and it's like no hard feelings at all. It's like that was the best advice that he thought he could give, but
Yeah.
I just disagreed with it, and I went the opposite of what he said, and it was probably the best move I made, in my life
Hell
at the
yeah.
time. Not only that, and then getting the patent, like that was a tough thing too. I had to get I started out with a provisional patent, which all that does is buy you a year's of time, like worth of time to market your idea, and then if you have a whole year to file an actual patent, but your patent date will date back to the start of your provisional patent. And so
Okay.
I got a provisional patent at first, and that's when I went to the bank and was going around Portland, beating the pavement and like trying to get, people interested. And and then I was like, man, this people like this. I think it's a good idea. It's super simple. It's got a lot of different functions. And so I was like, man, this is going to be worth getting a patent on, And then I went from there to getting a utility patent, which that's a whole another project in itself. I hired this guy out of Boise that was not he was a ex lawyer. He was an ex patent attorney, so he wasn't currently a practicing attorney. He
Yeah.
was an old guy, but had been doing it for 30 years, and so he he was at a discounted rate because he wasn't a current attorney, but
Yeah.
he wrote a really great patent for me, like really broad. If any patent you want it to be as broad as possible and cover as many like potential product derivatives as possible. That okay, we could go in this direction, or we could have this version, or it could be made out of wood or glass. So he wrote a really good patent, and it's really broad and covers a lot of even future product derivatives that we haven't even released yet. And if it wasn't for that, I would have never got the investment that I got a few years ago. Because, if you don't have a patent on your shit and it starts to blow up, then people can just straight copy it for like legally. If you don't
Yeah.
have that patent protection, that it's huge, and that was probably one of the best things that I did along the path.
No doubt. Man, it's good to hear these stories, Sweeney, because man, people think it's all just shits and giggles, but it's like, nah, the process was difficult and hard, but I did it,
Yeah,
you know?
no, it was, man. It's been a journey. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. Any entrepreneur will tell you it's a straight roller coaster of ups and downs and goods and bads, wins and losses, and you just gotta persistence pays, man. You just stick with it and never quitting, never giving up, and just staying dedicated and putting in hard work and sacrifice. Like you gotta sacrifice, man, in order to succeed. It does. I don't care what the fuck you're doing. If you don't put in some sacrifice in some way, you're not gonna get rewarded. You know what I mean? That's just the way life is.
Yeah. You gotta give some things up and go hard.
Yeah, I remember when I first moved to Portland, like I lived in this basement at my buddy's house in Northeast, and like these guys were mid 20s, like so they're partying all the time, and I would sit in my basement and like drink tea and like read books and like write business plans and shit like that, and I'd go to the library every day, and like these guys are like, hey, you want to go to the beer fest? And I'm like, no, man, I gotta go to the library. And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
But like it's sacrifice, man. It's there's no other way.
no doubt. Yeah, man. I used to always like when I the first year I moved down here, every time I'd go back home. Like I'd have to see the kids, you know what I mean? But I'd also have to link up
Yeah.
with some homies, and then I'd also have to do the music. And so
Yeah.
I would never go out and kick it. You know what I mean? I'd be hitting up Burgerville on the way to whoever I'm trying to go see because it's like, man,
Yeah.
I gotta take care of these other things too instead of going kick it. You know?
Nothing wrong with Burgerville.
Yeah, man. There's not. I like Burgerville, man.
Burgerville's good. It's good shit.
It's
Yeah,
better than In-N-Out, I think.
me too. I'm same, man. Same. I agree. Um, yeah, sacrifice is important, Sweeney. It's good to hear you say these things, dude. Is there any sort of ideas that you want to promote in the future?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of more casher products coming out. We have the new casher necklace. They're fucking sick, man. They're like gold chain, gold metallic clipper with a gold casher, or we have black. We have these icy blue ones. We're gonna do cashers on a keychain, and then we have one that's like got a tamper built in. We have a bunch of casher shit we're still gonna drop. We're just really trying to, like I said, stay focused on kind of the core concept right now and really stay laser focused on that until we kind of reach that tipping point and it gets a little bit more mainstream, and then like all our distribution channels are set up, right? We have all these customers, we have retail stores, we have distributors all over the world that we can just plug our new products into.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like I have, ideas. Casher was one that, given the time I started it, it was like, I need something that's simple, easy to manufacture, you know, low cost because I was broke as fuck, just graduating college. And sometimes the simpler ideas are the best, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I have a lot of ideas for other companies. For in the immediate future, though, it's going to be Casher for the next couple years at least. And then I just got my real estate license in Oregon,
Tight.
which I've been wanting to get in real estate for a while. So if anyone knows any, one trying to buy or sell any property in Oregon anywhere, whether it's, homes or apartment buildings or even commercial, like people looking for weed, like a warehouse to grow some weed in, or like land or anything like that, I can help them out, which I'm stoked about
That's
because,
awesome.
Yeah.
I want to get into, I've been wanting to get into real estate for a while. I've just been so busy with Casher that I haven't had the time. And so I just started taking an online class and finally, passed the test. I failed the fucking Oregon test like 4 times and finally passed it on the 5th one, but
All
I just got my
right.
license. I just got my license a few months ago, and so I'm pretty stoked about that, man. Because it's real estate is a solid investment any way you look at it. Even if you, even if you bought a house right before the market crashed, if you still have that house that's going back up, like real estate's one of the most solid investments you could do. You know what I mean? And invest in.
No doubt, man. Yeah, that's persistence pays. Passed on the fifth
Totally.
time.
And
You know what I mean?
as far as like other products though, like going through this whole journey with Casher and actually building a company and dealing with the manufacturing and the distribution and sales and marketing, it's a fucking project, bro. It's a journey. It's a lot of work. So I'm leaning towards in the future because I have a ton of ideas. Like inventing is really my passion. I have a ton of ideas, even taking current products and just making them better.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking to do more in the future, now that I know how tough it is to build a company from scratch, is licensing. So you can just if you come up with an invention and you think it's going to be good for, it's going to be a winner, you can license it to a company that already exists, and they'll do all the shit. They'll do all the sales, manufacturing, distribution, marketing, and then you just get a royalty check in the mail. And so
Hell
that's
yeah.
kind of that's what I'm looking to do a little bit more in the future, rather than build more companies from scratch, is license my ideas to existing companies. And if once you get 5 to 10 products licensed, then you'll be getting some pretty nice like royalty checks in the mail too. You know what I mean? Which is,
Yeah.
I like
That
it
man.
because it's like you're making money while you sleep, basically. You wake up and you go check your mailbox and like, oh shit, here's a check. you know.
Yeah. Dude, that
So
reminds me of Spotify. Like I was looking through all the settings and then there's this thing that says third party software, so I clicked on that. And
hmm
Spotify as a company, they license like more than 50 other companies' software or their idea or something that they
really,
created, they use
yeah,
in their app in order to make it work better. And it's cool
yeah,
too because when you click on the link, it's like they're super proud and courteous. They're like, we have to shout out our partners. Like without these
yeah.
software, we wouldn't be able to make it such a cool
That's
experience for you to
interesting.
use.
It's interesting to think about that on the digital side, because it's there's it's not as tangible products. When you have
Yeah,
a product you can sell, it's like, how many units did you sell? Boom, there it is. Whereas on the digital side, it's like, okay, how do you measure the value that this brought and how much revenue it generated, when it's kind of just in addition to our current platform, if that
yep,
makes any sense.
yeah,
So it's cool though. Like the digital world, man, is it's popping and it's not going anywhere. It's like the turnover and like the how fast it's advancing is insane.
yeah, yeah, man. They're listening all the time, Sweeney. Like I shit you not. I like you run ads every month on Facebook for Casher, right? Like it's you have a budget and it's like do you run it based
Well,
on
we
these
just
keywords?
we just started that. We just started that. We were banned because they looked at our website and shit and said, "Oh man, this is a weed product, or even tobacco. Facebook won't even let you do tobacco." So they said it was a smoking product, and they wouldn't let us do it. But we started working with this company out of California. It's a digital marketing company, and so they're able to advertise for us on Instagram and Facebook. We have to pay them. We have to pay them a grip each month, but like once we get up, because currently our online sales are like less than 5% of our total revenue.
Wow.
Whereas I think that that could eventually be like we could be doing more online sales than wholesale and retail,
Yeah.
because I mean, the power of something going viral. And then like the best part about that is when we're selling on our website at retail, our margins are insane. We're selling them what stores sell them for. And so we're making that whole margin. So instead of making like, $1 on each casher, we're making, a lot more, just because we're selling them direct to consumers, which is beautiful. And it also, it gives us that relationship with the consumer directly, so that if they have an issue with our product or if they have feedback, they can contact us directly, rather than like telling the retail store, and then whether or not they relay that message to us, which most of the time it doesn't happen. Because I mean,
Yeah.
how smoke shops are, man. They got
Yeah.
they got a thousand different products. We're just one of them. Like, they don't give a fuck for, honestly, it doesn't matter what the product is. It's like they got to just manage their shit, and they don't have time to sit there and like give feedback on each product to each vendor that they have.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So
like after I talked to you last week and sent you the link though, dude, like Facebook started showing me cashier ads
yeah, 'cause
that were
that's just
sponsored.
started. We just got everything. Like, we just pulled the trigger with the company's called Ad Taxi out of Southern California. We just
Wait,
pulled the
what are they
trigger with
called again?
Ad Taxi.
Ad taxi. Okay.
Yeah, they're legit, man. They're some awesome people to work with. But we just pulled the trigger on that, like probably a week before I talked to you, or maybe right after I talked to you, and that's why you started seeing it right then. Because And it's funny because like my brother, I've been getting up by all these people. My brother, some of my good friends, like, hey, I just started seeing Casher ads on Instagram and Facebook. I'm like, good
Yeah.
man, fuck yeah, like it's about
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
Because
And
that
I
was a
I cl
challenge,
I
man.
click share, bro. As soon as if it's somebody I know and they paid for me to see it, I'm like, "Dude, Imma click like and click share because that's the least I
Yeah,
can do." You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
even when it's musicians I don't know, because down here in Phoenix, like my engineer homie, he's like my only friend besides my neighbor across the hall, you know what I mean? So, whenever I see
yeah,
some artist promoting a show, it's like, "Man, they paid to have more eyeballs see this, so I'm gonna support it, click like and share, you know
yeah,
what I mean?"
yeah, exactly. And it's just it's your supporting your friend's business and your homies and shit. Like for me, you know, I meet that's one of the best things about this whole journey. It's been challenging. I've learned so much. But one of the things I'll never take like I'll take away forever is all the people I've met along the way, and I call it my road family. These people I see at every trade show and stuff, and it's like they want to give me their shit for free, and I'm like, no, man, I want to buy it from you just to support you and your business, and like when people do that to me, it's like, here, I try to give them like, here's a handful of cashers, and like, no, I want to buy them from you, bro, just to support you. It's fucking beautiful when people do that, and they just want to help you out, and like their friends and family or whatever, and it's like I would totally give you however many you want for free, but at the same time, like they're supporting, what I do for a living, so it's a beautiful thing.
No doubt, man, no doubt. Is there anything else that you'd like to share from your experience, man?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been a journey. I've learned so much. I wouldn't take anything back for the world, man. If I could do one thing differently, it would be to just start sooner. That's it's really the biggest trick, man. Like everyone, so many people have ideas like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, or I got an idea for this product or whatever, and literally the best thing you can do is just to take that very first step, and then it's fucking one step at a time. It's like if you look at it as one big project and like all this shit you got to do, it's overwhelming, and
Hell
and that's
yeah.
what happens most of the time is people just they look at all the shit that needs to happen and they never even take that first step. And so my
Yeah.
my best advice would just be to like, man, if you are truly passionate about something and you think it's a good idea, just fucking start, man. Just take that first step, and maybe you get 3-4 steps into the process, and then you realize like, man, this isn't gonna work. But at that point, you'll probably be like, well, you know what, this will, and you'll come up with another kind of a alteration to your original idea that will is much better even, you know what I'm saying? But if you didn't take those first couple steps just to get started, you would have never got there. So,
No doubt.
if you're out there, if you're listening, you have an idea and you want to, get out of the rat race and working for somebody else and trading your time for money, you got to take that leap at some point. It's that entrepreneurial leap of faith, and you just got to fucking take that first step. And whatever it is, it could be as simple as sending an email to a manufacturer. Or it could be as simple as like looking up different patents that are similar to your idea or something like that. And then once you get there, you just one step at a time, baby.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Sweeney. I like hearing you talk about this shit too, dude, because my main thing too, like first it was this podcast, but now it's this rock and roll album. Like Ty is on hiatus, so I
Yeah,
just have my guitar player now. So I'm like, damn, I
yeah,
gotta adapt and change my steps around. And it's like it's been forever since I dropped one, but I'm getting close to the finish line. So I try not to look
yeah,
at the big
yeah, yeah,
picture either. I try to send emails to Kyle every week and just say, hey man, I got
yeah,
this. Here's this. I'm gonna
yeah,
try and record in 2 weeks. So it
yeah. And it's like it's one, it's not even one song at a time. It's one verse at a time, one riff at a time. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And you keep just trudging along. And like I said, persistence pays, man. It's been 10 years now for Casher. It's kind of crazy to think about, but it's been a whole fucking decade. This
Yeah.
is, in fact, this is our 10th year anniversary because we released it to market in 2009. So we're about to have a party at our headquarters in Portland here coming up probably before the rain hits.
Yeah.
And so we'll post it on our page. Which, by the way, I know that was one of your questions too. Is
Yeah,
our
yeah.
social
Plug your
media
social media, man. Yeah.
is it's everything is at my Casher. Again, Casher with a K, so it's MYKASHER. Our website is mycasher.com. You can get all our products on there. If you have a brand, any brand, it doesn't have to be a smoke shop or a dispensary, any fucking brand. You know, like I said, we've done them for magazines, lawyers, insurance companies. You know, anyone trying to get into the cannabis space, or even like the outdoor space. We just landed a deal with a distributor that sells to like REI stores and Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops and mom and pop outdoor stores. You know, because there's a huge crossover. It turns out everyone out there that's fucking fishing and stuff, they smoke pot too, right?
Yeah.
Like, who wants to go fishing and not smoke a bowl or a joint? You know, like that goes hand in hand. So there's a huge crossover there, and it's been cool to kind of get into these other spaces outside of the cannabis space and deal with some other industries and stuff. It's been real cool.
Dope, man. Yeah, I went to one of your parties before there at the office, and it was a good time. Folks blowing glass pipes and all that. There was like,
Yeah,
yeah, man. Your
yeah,
mom was
some
there. I
live
got to
glass
smoke a
one.
blunt with Sweeney's mom, man. It was cool.
Yeah, I forgot about that, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
my mom can smoke, bro. I'm trying to get her more into dabbing. I'm concerned about her dabbing. Speaking of the name of the podcast,
Word.
she's afraid of the torch though. So like, I'm gonna give her one of the Puffco Peak or the new candy pens. Has an Aura, which is like a similar thing, but she just doesn't like the torch. But it's like
It's kind of
vaporizing and
cracky with
dabbing
the
is
torch.
yeah, totally, and it's scary for some people, and it's like but at the same time she's still smoking out of a pipe. I'm like, Mom, you gotta, it's healthier. Vaporizing is the way to go. She had breast cancer too, so I want her to eliminate any toxins and shit, and stop smoking. So it's cool, man. And it's funny, like, even with the Puffco Peak, if you guys are familiar, there's like they do a video. They have a whole Instagram page. It's like Puffco, like, what do they call it? Like for servicing. So if you need to like change out the atomizer on your Peak, the Casher actually works perfect to, like, better than any other tool that even the one that they include in their kit. It like works perfect to like change the atomizer out and like screw out the little atomizer base and stuff. And they have videos of it on their page. It's pretty cool.
That's
and it was
tight.
just like one of those things where a Casher kind of worked. And then, speaking of dabbing, I invented the Casher before I even knew what dabbing was. Like,
Same.
no shit, I didn't even know
didn't
what
know
dabbing was.
Yeah.
And
It was like
and
2012.
now it turns out it works perfect for dabbing, dude. Like, in fact, we even have a titanium version. It's a pure titanium Casher, and you can just take it off your lighter. You heat the tip up. It becomes a little wax cutter. You can slice off whatever size dab you want, dab it. It'll hold it upright for you, like on your table, because it stands upright, when it's off the lighter.
Yeah.
And then you heat your banger. You take your dab. It works as a carb cap even. And then when you're done dabbing, it also stands upright, and so you don't have to, when you have those, like a regular dabber, you're always like setting it on the corner of your table so it doesn't get sticky on the table.
Yeah.
And then you fucking like bump into it with your pants, and then it sticks to your pants. You're like, fuck. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like
Dabs are messy,
it
man.
all kind
Dabs
of,
are messy.
yeah, it just was like all happened by chance that the casher worked so well for dabbing as well. So it's pretty sweet because I pretty much I mostly dab now. I don't smoke that much anymore, except for I smoke joints and blunts once in a while. But other than that, I'm mainly a dabber myself.
Word. Backwoods when Kane's around.
Yeah, and the backwoods for sure.
Well, shit, Sweeney. That's about an hour right there, man. Do you have any questions, Will? My bad. I didn't even like.
No, you're good, man. No, you guys covered a lot of great stuff. You know, honestly, I might think of one in the next minute here, but yeah, a lot of good stuff was said. I was just soaking it all in, pretty much. You know.
Word, word. Yeah, you're a pretty good interview, Sweeney. It's been real easy on us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure,
Absolutely.
man. It's honestly, it feels good to speak these words because people don't ask me all the time, you know, and it's good to run through the history of it in the past decade of my life and shit, and like really, you know, I just appreciate you guys, man, like having me on and being interested in that type of shit because it's important, man. Entrepreneurialism is, in my opinion, it's the base of our economy, man, and we need more people to start businesses and create jobs here in America and shit. Even though caches are made overseas, we do all our fucking assembly in house here in Portland. We got
Yes,
people,
sir.
you know, John used to do it himself, you know,
Yeah.
for
Yep.
fucking days on end, you know. So it's like it's cool, man, to actually provide jobs and being on the other side of the table and hiring people rather than going to an interview, you know. And now it's like, should I hire this motherfucker or what? Or like, you know, what questions do you
Yeah.
ask people? And like, honestly, that's one of the biggest challenges I've found in growing a company is finding good people. And if you talk to any business owner, they'll probably tell you the same thing. It's just,
Yeah.
it's a challenge, man. Like, I don't know if it's technology or what has made people flaky as fuck these days, but it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Showing up is important, man. That's why I appreciate you giving me that job back then, bro. You know what I mean? 'Cause I
Hell
I
yeah.
learned I learned a lot just, about business in general, man.
Yeah, just
You
being
know,
around. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
need more people supporting local business too, because
yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
that makes the community thrive, obviously. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, shit, Sweeney, is there anything else you want to talk about, man? Is that
I mean,
I feel like
that
that's
pretty much covers it, man. I'd be happy to come on again, you know, at a later episode and maybe get into some other topic more in depth. But that's kind of it. I got these. I'm about to go bowling with some friends out here in Portland and smoke some weed and fucking hit the hardwood.
all right. Well, all right, dude. Well, that's good. That was a dope interview. Thanks for hanging out for an hour or two, man. I know you had other stuff going on, 3-day weekend and everything.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's all good. The pleasure is mine, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I look forward to working with you guys some more.
okay, man.
definitely.
I'll send you the YouTube and Spotify links once I got them. I think the Spotify doesn't upload till Tuesday morning or something, so
Okay, no
I'll
worries.
text
Yeah,
you the link.
I'll share that shit too for sure.
No doubt. Well, thanks, dude. We appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and start my outro dance, folks. This was the 20th episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I was your host, KDM Kane. With me was my co-host, Will Terps. Our guest tonight was Drew Sweeney from the Casher Company, ladies and gentlemen. I got to give a shout out to my guys in production. Mitchell Wilson showed up last minute, and Jesse Curry. This has been a Main Node and Joseph Street Enterprise production.